in church. I'm visiting you here from my conversation chair on Good Friday, a somber day of awareness of just how broken human beings can be, especially when they cooperate together out of fear or anxiety and the devastation that can come. We observe Good Friday not just to remember, but to have our eyes opened to our day today, to our life, to our way in the world, and to set a cautionary tale about cooperation among human beings can be wonderful, but sometimes cooperation can be a cooperation for that which is harmful or growing out of hatred or fear. And that's the story on Good Friday. The very people that celebrated Jesus, that threw palms on the ground to say that we wanted him to be Lord of our lives, those very same people, just a day or two later, were crying out for him in the public square to be executed. And when Pontius Pilate, who was the governor at the time, asked the people why did they want this man to be executed, he could find no reason. He was, at best, according to Pilate, a silly-minded person who thought that he had something important for humanity, but he was about love. And even Pontius Pilate knew that. But when he put it back to the crowd in the tradition, there was to be one person released, and it could have been Jesus. The crowd that said they loved him said, no, we don't want him released. And Pilate said, well, what am I to do with him then? And they clamored, they screamed for him to be crucified. It's this day, this Good Friday, is a Friday when everything that was good was absent from the world. The writer of one of the Gospels says that the events of that afternoon from 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock were so unthinkable that the sun refused to light the scene. The sun refused to shine, and the earth grew dark because of the darkness of the hearts of human beings at that time. It's an amazing story, an account from the gospel writers of how all the earth and all of nature was cooperating together to tell the story that this is inhuman, this is anti-life to have the Lord of love be crucified and tortured. So on this Good Friday, we mark that event. I was thinking about the upcoming solar eclipse, when they say in some areas the solar eclipse will be total and all those areas will be plunged into darkness. The gospel writers tell the story that that's actually what happened. That in some ways the sun said, don't look at this, don't see this, because of how brutal human beings can be. We don't have to look far into history. We can look right into our own world today. And we see that for reasons perhaps we don't even understand, groups, mobs of human beings, for sometimes political reasons or resentful reasons, can still cooperate together to commit carnage, to commit brutality, so that the scenes afterward make everybody wonder what in the world has happened to allow this kind of behavior to take place. We celebrate or we remember Good Friday, and we're invited to contemplate it for more than a day. It's now close to 4 o'clock on Good Friday. As the story is told, by this time Jesus is dead on the cross. His body will be taken down and will be transported to the tomb, and then a large stone will be rolled in front of it. And so for 1 day plus hours, until the sunrise of Sunday morning, what we call Sunday morning, Jesus' body lays in a tomb. These are the times where we're called upon to remember that life can be brutal. We can be brutal, human beings, individuals and collectively together. But that the brutality, the message of Easter, and it will be proclaimed here in a worship service on Easter Sunday morning at 10:30, we will proclaim that we know how bad it can get. We know how broken we can be. We've seen it. We've seen it in others, and we've even sometimes very frighteningly seen it in ourselves. But that brokenness, that evil, that terrible behavior does not win in the world created by God. It does not win. And so for whatever Easter and the resurrection means to you and all the various understandings of it, the main thing that it proclaims is that in this life there are all kinds of signs that point to the fact that the brokenness will not win, the hard-heartedness will not win, the message of new life and new beginning, even after the worst experiences, will always prevail. So I encourage you to maybe frighteningly take the inventories of the brokenness of our lives, collectively, individually, and see it for what it's worth with the help of God. And hold on, if we can, through that vision of how hard-hearted and mean and brutal human beings can be. Hold on to it. Know its truth. And that will prepare us for what we see when the sun rises and the proclamation of the resurrection of Jesus is heralded. Thank you again for listening to this meditation on Good Friday. Again, I'm Pastor Lou Kilgore. I'm here at the High Mountain Presbyterian Church, inviting you to come and join the others who will be here on Easter Sunday, 10:30. Our address is 730 Franklin Lake Road in Franklin Lakes, New Jersey. Everyone is welcome, and I mean everyone. This is an inclusive, welcoming community that seeks to be an outpost of love, a bastion of grace and encouragement in a world that seeks to divide and push some to the outside. We're challenged by the inclusivity of Jesus. So I welcome you to take a chance. If you cannot physically come and be here, then come back to this channel on Easter Sunday morning at 10:30 on YouTube, and we'll share the joy and the promise of Easter with you, even as we proclaim that we know how broken life can be sometimes. Thank you for listening, and I'm glad to have a chance to demonstrate the depth of the meaning of Easter with you on this Good Friday.